Good morning everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today is going to be the first part of a two-part video about everything that I had to do to get into vet science, hopefully some hints and tips for you. The first part is going to be everything that is non-animal and non-shadowing related, so everything about academics, non-academic things that will still count in your favor, everything like that. And then the second part is going to be all about shadowing with vets, with farmers, with everything like that, all the animal experience. So I really hope you guys enjoy this. I'm going to start with the most obvious thing, and that is academics. People usually, when they think about vet school, the first thing that they think about is that you need amazing marks to get in. I'm not gonna lie, you do need good marks, but you do not need to be the top in your grade and 90s for everything to be able to get in. I was never at that point, I was never able to be at that point, and I still managed to get in. So obviously academics does play a role, but it's not the only thing. The three subjects that you need to have to be able to apply is firstly English. It can be first additional language or it can be home language. It makes no difference to them. Math, unfortunately not math literacy. And then physical sciences, so physics and chemistry. Those are the three that you need. At school I had the four compulsory ones. I had Afrikaans, math, English, first additional language, and then also life orientation. Then my other subjects were physical sciences, biology, and accounting. Now biology you don't need to be able to apply or to get in, but I highly recommend that you take it. So you do not need biology. A lot of people don't have biology and they still pass. They might struggle a little bit more, but it is completely possible to pass first year and the rest of vet science without biology, but I highly recommend that you get it. It gives you amazing groundwork for especially subjects like microbiology and genetics that we do in high school, and then it just helps you a lot when you get to first year and you do it a lot more in depth. It just gives you a nice groundwork to work on. I remember sometimes I was looking at the work and reading all the information that they give us, and I cannot imagine understanding it if I didn't have the groundwork that I got from Matric. But obviously if you don't have it, it's not a train smash. A lot of people do it without biology. Some of my friends did it without biology, and yes, they were confused about some stuff, but it's still completely manageable, and you can even ask other people who did have it. You can ask lecturers. It's not a train smash, so don't worry about it if you do not have it. Then next is that if you apply directly out of school, they look at your grade 11 marks. Those are the marks that you send in with your application, and then they just look at your Matric marks to see if you could uphold those marks. I don't want to say focus more on your grade 11 marks, because if you cannot keep up that standard in Matric, you may lose your place. But grade 11 is the year that you really do want to work hard. And a lot of people ask, what percentage do I need? What average do I need to get in? And there is no given value. You cannot say, okay, if you get 90s for everything, you're in. Because it varies a lot between groups. Some groups are very strong academically, and then some people who have very high marks still don't get in. Other groups are weaker academically, so if your marks aren't that good, you still have a chance of getting in. Then also, because academics is not the only thing that counts, there are a lot of different things that count towards you getting admitted. You might not have academics that are that good, but you have a lot of other strong points, so they might admit you, or your academics might be great and everything else is not that great, and then you might not get admitted. So I remember the one open day, my dad and I were there, and my dad asked them for a number. No, he needs a number, he needs a value, and they have to give it to him. And they were hesitant, of course, because there is no given value, and in the end they told him, okay, if you have 92% average, then you have basically a given spot. And my dad was like, okay, so you're getting 92% for everything, and 92% is not within my abilities, okay? I can maybe get 92% for one test in one subject, but it is definitely not in my capabilities of having that as an average. And I knew that, so I was like, yeah, I don't think so. So I set up an average for myself that I definitely wanted to work towards. It was realistic for me, and it was also realistic for being admitted. It wasn't something like, okay, I know that I can definitely get 70s for everything, so I'm going to aim for 70s. Because if you have 70s for everything, the chances of you getting admitted does drop a fair amount. So it has to be realistic for you to be able to do it and realistic for them to accept that. So I think the average that I aimed for was 85. Obviously, I didn't study my work and I was like, I'm going to get 85 for this test, I'm going to get 85 for this test. But it did help me a lot in that it made me calmer because I could usually reach that. So if I did, I felt calmer because I felt like it was a realistic expectation for me. From their side and from my side, I felt like I was reaching my goals. And I also felt like it was high enough to get me in. Say, for example, you do not reach your goal. Say you set your goal, you have your goal of 87%, for example, and you do not reach that and you keep on not reaching that and you're really worried about it, then get help. If you're really set on reaching that goal and if you're worried that if you do not reach that goal that you will not get admitted, get help. Go to extra classes, get tutors to help you, have study groups with friends, go to the teachers, ask them questions, ask for advice, but then get help to get you onto that amount. If you see that it's just not going to happen, set yourself a more realistic goal. One of the biggest things to remember throughout the entire process, if you do not get in, it's not a train smash. If your marks drop, it's not a train smash. Nothing that happens in this process is a train smash. There is always a second chance, something else that you can do. Just don't panic. Never panic, it puts you in a much worse position than you were after what you believe to have been the train smash. So just keep calm and go to what you can do next. That's all. And then the next thing is open days. I went to 3 open days. Luckily, we had that ability because my parents only live 40 minutes away. Obviously, some people live all across the country. They live in different countries. They cannot just come to an open day every single year. It is expensive. It is time consuming. And sometimes it's just not realistic. So if you cannot come to a lot of open days, it's fine. I highly recommend that you come to the one that happens in the year that you are applying, just to get some better information, some clearer information, just so that you know exactly what's going on. If you cannot do that, if there are time constraints, financial constraints, do not panic. You can always email the university. You can ask them any questions that you have. You can ask them to give you information about everything that is going to happen in the application process and after that. So don't panic. If you cannot make it, don't panic. There is always another way to get it done. For me, the good part about going to so many open days was that I was constantly up to date on the information. I constantly knew what was going on. I could prepare myself. The negative thing was that leading up to our year, they changed the application process a lot. I think they changed it twice before they got to where we are now. Not sure, but it felt like a lot more than that, honestly. I know that originally they said that the only hours that counted for you were the ones that you spent with a vet, where a vet could sign that you did that amount of hours with them, and that was basically all that they looked at for shadow work. They changed it for our group and the groups after us to be that any work that you do with animals counts for you, and hours do not count as much anymore. The amount that you did with an animal does not count as much as it does the amount of different animals that you did. So if you lived on a horse farm your entire life, okay, you have 18, 19 years of experience with horses, and you have never seen a cow in real life, it's not going to help you at all. They're going to be like, oh yeah, you know about horses, but what about the rest? So now they look a lot more at variation. They look a lot more at quantity than quality. So keep that in mind. Something that they also changed with us was that they told us that only the work that we did from 10th grade up to when we applied would count. That was what they told us, I think, when I was 10th grade. And that was really a problem for us because I started my shadowing from about 8th, 9th grade, sort of to build up some extra hours because we knew that I would be very busy with academics later in my high school years. They also changed that. It is now that any experience you have gotten over your entire life, they count that. So if you have had dogs and cats at your house since you were a little baby, you can count all those years of working with dogs and cats. So that helps a lot. Then if you do go to the open day and you are not sure about something, ask a question. Rather ask and maybe look a bit stupid and get the answer and know than not knowing and making a stupid mistake, and in the end it costs you your admission. So don't make that mistake. Okay, now away from academics. A new thing that they brought in, especially now with the new admission type thing, is that they focus a lot on balance. They want students who are balanced. They do not want academic freaks who get 90s for everything, but they do not do anything else with their lives. And I understand why, because it is such a taxing course and you have to put so much effort in, and it's sort of, if the only thing in your life is your academics and something goes wrong with that, it feels like your life is coming to an end. And I feel like it's fair that they're trying to avoid that by making sure that you have other things in your life as well. So they focused a lot that you also do sport, that you do things that aren't school related, that you participate in culture, that you do community service. So if you sing in the choir, you put it on there. If you are part of the chess club, you put it on there. If you play rugby, you put it on there. I could put my horse riding on there as well as on my animal experience part, because it is also considered a sport. Also, they focus a lot on if you had a leadership role in whatever activity you were busy with. For example, I was, by elimination, the under captain for the horse riding team. We were just two who applied to be captain, and I think I got 2 votes and the other girl got like 30. It really didn't bother me because I was mostly just applying so that I can have something to put on my form. And I actually did enjoy it a lot. So they focus a lot on leadership, then try to have a lot of variation again, do at least one sport, at least one culture thing, and one type of community project, community service type thing. For example, me doing blood donation. It shows that you care. It just also brings in a bit more balance, that you're not just focused on performance, but also on giving to other people. Then also, something that, I don't want you to take this wrong, but blow up every little thing that you can as big as possible. Don't lie on the form. They will know if you've lied. I don't know how, but OP sniffs out lies. But everything that you can, blow it up as big as you can. For example, I did orators once in 8th grade. I put that on there. I didn't tell them when I did it. I didn't tell them how long I did it. I just told them that I did orators, and I had a certificate from the school that said I did orators in 2014. So small things like that, small things that you think are completely insignificant, put that on there. For example, if your school has a concert or a talent show and you sang in it, put it in there. It could only have been once, it could have been one song, you could have ran out crying. It's fine, put it in there. It shows that you took a risk, it shows that you have variation, it shows that you can work with people. You don't need to put the bad details in, but definitely put the good details in. Do not exaggerate it to the point where you are lying. For example, with orators thing, I will not say that all through high school I did orators and I did so good. Okay, I did it once in 8th grade and I don't think we did very good, but I still put in that I did orators, and that was about as good as I could make it sound, but I didn't tone it down. Tone it up as much as you can. Then I think we have covered everything now. We have done academics, we have done the balance, you need sport, you need culture, you need community stuff. Then the last thing I just want to finish with is don't panic. If you did great in 11th grade and your marks plummet down in matric, don't panic, okay? It is not the end of the world. Maybe you got admitted, maybe you lost a spot. Don't panic. You can always try again. You can study BSc for a year and apply again from there. You can take a gap year. You can do whatever you need. If you maybe have a test that maybe it's your final math exam and it goes horrible, okay, and you just feel like the world is going to end, you're going to lose your admission, just don't panic. And also don't assume anything. For example, my math exam, my final year exam, took my year mark from 90 something to 80. Not 80 something, 80. I so nearly lost a TPT, and I am convinced that if I lost a TPT for math, they would have kicked me out. It took my final mark down by more than 10%. And I was panicking because obviously I could tell that the test wasn't going well, and I could tell that I was definitely not up to standards. And if I had 1% less on maybe one of my tests, I could have maybe lost that. But just don't panic, because maybe you did, maybe you didn't, and in the end, when that test is finished, you can't do anything about it. So just take it from where you are then. Maybe you don't get in with your matric marks, you wait a year, you study BSc, or you take a gap year, and maybe the next group isn't as strong academically, so that makes you look better in the group. By comparison, you might be able to get in. And also, if you, for example, didn't do well with your academics, then focus on improving your shadowing or your sports or your cultures or something like that, because obviously your academics from high school are done. You can't do anything about it now, so focus on the things that you can change. Just don't panic. There is always a plan B, a plan C. You can always contact the university, tell them, listen, I really want to get in, I really want to be able to do this, is there anything that I can do for us to make this a possibility? Just don't panic, because the moment that you panic, everything that was just maybe a little bit of a problem becomes a massive issue immediately. So just stay calm, do what you can from the point where you are, and take it one step at a time. Don't overthink it, don't panic, and just keep trying. Honestly, keep trying. I mean, I know people who got in on their third try, their fourth try. I mean, some people get in on the first try, some people get in on the sixth try. Really, just don't give up, because there is always a chance. Like I said to my mom, I think there were 8 spaces that I could fill. For some people it's less, but someone has to fill that. Someone has to be there, someone has to do that. So just don't panic, don't give up, because you can do it. If this is what you are meant to do, it is going to happen. So just do your best and you will get there, I promise. Really. One last thing is that with the value added form, everything that you put on there, you need to be able to prove. So just everything that you do and all your life, keep proof of it. If you get that little certificate I got for orators in 8th grade, that counted for me. So you fill in the value added form, which is just a basics of all the stuff that you have done, and then you attach a document with all of your proof. And that's basically it. So this was the end of part 1. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope that it helped you a bit, that it gave you a few tricks, a few tips that maybe you didn't know. If I forgot anything, if there are other vet students out there, please just let me know in the comments. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comments and I'll answer it as soon as I see it. And I hope you guys have an amazing day, and I look forward to seeing you in part 2.